as considered the marketing savior for the sport.
So many people were also painting her out to be the problem. She could never do enough. She could never speak out.
WNBA players are upset about Caitlin Clark getting a big offer from a European team. They feel they deserve higher pay because of their longer experience in the league compared to the rookie star.
It's physical. Caitlin is helping to grow the league. These women understand that, but she cannot be babied as a rookie. That's all I'm at.
Caitlin Clark's move abroad may harm the WNBA as she becomes the world's highest paid player. In a league that values her talent, she'll gain the respect she deserves, away from criticism and negativity from some WNBA players.
Reality. It wasn't what it is. The quality of basketball may have been up to snuff, and you had somebody as popular as Cheryl Swoops who had her own signature shoe, had to deal with Nike and all of this other stuff. But the bottom line is, very few people gave a damn.
Caitlin Clark faces challenges within the WNBA, including a lack of support from teammates. A recent incident involving Alyssa Smith and DJ Carrington laughing about the viral eye poke highlights this issue. It raises questions about why Clark would stay in a league where she often feels undermined.
Ow! Oh, I'm sorry. You poked me in the eye. You did. Did you do it on purpose?
I did not poke you in the eye.
Caitlin Clark's teammate Alyssa Smith was caught laughing as DJ Carrington mocked Clark, mimicking her viral line, "Did you do it on purpose?" Shockingly, Smith failed to defend Clark, highlighting the isolation she faces even within her own team. This incident underscores the challenges Clark endures despite her talent and growing success.
They're like, well, hold on, man. This woman is booed up with the girl that poked Caitlin Clark in the eye. They're making videos making fun of Caitlin Clark in the eye poke. What is the Indiana Fever doing?
People are questioning what the Indiana Fever is doing as Alyssa Smith is close with the player who poked Caitlin Clark in the eye. They are making videos mocking Clark over the incident, leaving fans stunned by the lack of professionalism.
If Caitlin, in every post-game press conference, she came out and talked about the kind of hateful comments that she was getting. If she came out and told everybody the reason why she has personal security that goes with her every single place, it's a lot. And so it's not just Caitlin Clark fans or Indiana Fever fans. It is not all going in one direction.
Caitlin Clark's team has failed to support her, focusing on Alyssa Smith's highlights instead of backing their star player. Opposition players clearly don't want her in the WNBA, and even her own teammates have mocked her publicly. With no loyalty from her team, accepting the EuroLeague offer seems like the best move. Leaving the WNBA would force the league to confront their treatment of Clark, realizing her worth only after she's gone and begging for her return.
To the degree of Caitlin Clark being on that basketball court and people watching her, but nevertheless, rising tide lifts all.
Caitlin Clark's contract with a European team isn't just a career move. It exposes the significant disparities in opportunities between certain WNBA players and those who attract international attention. Despite being a newcomer to professional basketball, Clark has already received international offers that even established stars like A'ja Wilson haven't, despite years of dominance in the WNBA. This disparity highlights a growing frustration among veteran players who feel overlooked by both the league and international teams. Their feelings of being undervalued stirs strong emotions, as Clark's rise draws attention to the gaps in respect, recognition, and financial opportunities in women's basketball.
A lot of people that laid the groundwork that deserve shine as well. Here's what we're going to do.
Are they playing now?
Here's what we're going to do.
Are they playing now?
We don't have Andrea.
Remember, you got
we don't have any of the women, Chanae. They'll come back on. We'll revisit this conversation.
For A'ja Wilson, the frustration surrounding Caitlin Clark's move goes beyond the fact that Clark got a European contract. It's about the underlying message this sends to the WNBA. A'ja has long believed that being the MVP of the league should carry more weight, offering not just recognition but also better opportunities, including top-tier contracts. Yet, she now sees Caitlin Clark, who has not played as long or achieved as much, getting offers that someone of A'ja's caliber should be receiving, highlighting a gap in how the league values its top players. This situation has stirred deep frustration within her.
12 million people are watching ESPN for a game. If that game was on CBS, they probably would have had 25, 30 million people watching that.
A'ja Wilson's frustration runs deeper because it highlights the harsh reality that skill and accomplishment don't always lead to financial reward in the WNBA. While Caitlin Clark was still in college, her games were packed with eager fans, while A'ja, despite being the MVP, wasn't drawing the same crowds at the WNBA level. This disparity in attention and financial opportunities further underscores the challenges veteran players face, despite their talent and accomplishments. The situation reveals a significant gap in recognition and marketability, leaving Aisha and other players questioning the league's value system.
Even know her name, Nylisa Smith, if she played on any of the other 11 teams. She was the second overall pick 2 or 3 years ago in the WNBA draft. Decent player, but no one would know. She played with Caitlin Clark. People know her name. She has no gratitude. She has no respect. She can't tell her girlfriend, hey, we ain't doing.
DJ Carrington's animosity toward Caitlin Clark is well known, with a history of tension between the two players. The infamous eye poke incident, which left Caitlin with a black eye, brought Carrington's resentment to a head. Instead of showing remorse, Carrington mocked Caitlin, deepening the conflict. This public display of disrespect wasn't an isolated event, but rather a sign of deeper resentment Carrington has held toward Caitlin for some time, revealing ongoing personal animosity.
The most watched WNBA games in over 2 decades. What does that tell you? That tells you that before Caitlin Clark came along, it wasn't nearly as popular. It doesn't mean it wasn't growing in popularity over the last 2 to 3 years. But 3 years ago, WNBA was an afterthought.
DJ Carrington's resentment toward Caitlin Clark likely arises from Caitlin's rapid rise as the face of women's basketball, a position Carrington has been unable to reach despite her own talent. While Carrington is a skilled player, she hasn't gained the same level of fame or success as Caitlin, creating underlying bitterness. The infamous eye poke incident, which left Caitlin with a black eye, only amplified this resentment. Instead of showing remorse, Carrington mocked Caitlin, further escalating their tension. For Carrington, Caitlin's rise feels like a personal slight, as though her own years of hard work and achievements are being overshadowed by someone who hasn't paid the same dues. This feeling of being overlooked in favor of a newcomer has led to a deeper sense of animosity and frustration, as Carrington grapples with her own struggles for recognition.
Thing above board, it doesn't matter what Nylisa Smith does. She can go out and mock our meal ticket, the best player in the league, the person that's making us all.
DJ Carrington's behavior towards Caitlin Clark has raised serious concerns, particularly the way she seems to take pleasure in Caitlin's misfortunes. After the eye poke incident that left Caitlin with a black eye, rather than showing remorse, Carrington mocked her injury, suggesting that she enjoyed seeing Caitlin suffer. This kind of behavior goes beyond professional rivalry, it's deeply personal. Carrington's resentment toward Caitlin, who has quickly risen as the face of women's basketball, is clear. What's even more troubling is that this lack of empathy is echoed by Nylisa Smith, who has aligned herself with Carrington. After the eye poke incident, Nylisa was seen laughing with her girlfriend about Caitlin's injury, showing no concern for her fellow players' well-being. This behavior is shocking, especially from professional athletes who are expected to exhibit sportsmanship and respect. The fact that both Carrington and Nylisa find amusement in Caitlin's suffering points to a deeper issue within the league. It reflects a lack of professionalism and respect among certain players, which can create a toxic atmosphere. Caitlin, who has worked hard to earn her place in the spotlight, now has to contend with personal animosity from her peers, further highlighting the challenges she faces within the WNBA.
Been impacting the WNBA well before this year. This is not a new thing. Sure. This is, and in that way, I do think Caitlin's being used as a pawn. Caitlin didn't bring citizens to the WNBA. This has been.
For Caitlin Clark, the level of hostility she faces is deeply concerning. The WNBA is supposed to be a space where players support each other and work together to elevate the league, but instead, she's facing open animosity from her peers. This creates a toxic environment where players are not just competing against one another, but actively trying to tear each other down. Caitlin's injury wasn't simply an on-court accident. It became a symbol of the hostility she faces from players like Nylisa Smith and DJ Carrington. Their mockery of her suffering reflects a deeper issue within the league, where instead of fostering unity, some players are allowing personal grudges to overshadow professionalism. This kind of behavior creates a divisive atmosphere that undermines the league's potential for growth and success, making it even harder for players like Caitlin, who should be supported and celebrated, to thrive in the WNBA.
All of those who think it's funny, could you imagine if it was, the roles were reversed? If Caitlin Clark, 2 white girls, made a video mocking it, what the reaction would be? I mean, let's just be honest. I don't want to go, what about Favre? But what about Favre? It's the